problem is what I'm seeing from all this, like I was going back to earlier, is people can't get past that exchange account. They don't want to take control of the for themselves. It's a responsibility thing that I'm seeing with a lot of people, and they don't want to take responsibility for themselves. They don't want to,
Well,
if they lose their own money, they don't want to be responsible for that. They want to have somebody to blame.
yeah.
And for me,
Well,
I'd rather
this
hold
let
on
me
to
jump in
everything.
here.
But that, yeah, yeah,
This goes back to our discussion last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, about trading. And
yeah.
why most people fail at trading is they don't take fucking responsibility. Oh, they blame the market. No, the market does what the market does.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Logical Dude, back with another episode of Coin Logic TV. We are here for Macro Mondays with Taskmaster4450. How are you doing today, sir?
Absolutely wonderful.
Excellent, excellent. That's better than a lot of people in the industry are doing right now. Fallout FTX, that's been a big deal. It's been on the news channels all over the place. It's really putting a big stink on the industry. What are your initial thoughts about all this?
Shit bankers have been doing forever. I mean, it's, taking customer funds, leveraging them up, and engaging in, margin trading in hopes of turning fantastic profits is a sound idea on paper. The problem is if the market turns against you, you end up with exactly what FTX had, a liquidity crisis when people go to get their funds, and you don't have enough money because you're sustaining losses to, uh, you know, give people their money back. So you end
Yeah,
up with what people are calling a Ponzi scheme. It's really not necessarily a Ponzi scheme. I guess you could look at it. The first ones to get their money out are the ones who end up coming out ahead. But it's really just a bank run is essentially what it is. And they didn't have the liquidity after incurring the losses. And that's just something that that counterparty risk. People don't really analyze it, but that's what you have to pay attention to, especially in crypto. And there was a lot of VC money, there was a lot of institution money. I mean, there were billions that were
the
wiped out.
billions that were, yeah, it was over 600 million, I think, or between 3 to 600 million is what got wiped out in the hack. Which conveniently happened right after they filed bankruptcy. But yeah, there's a whole lot of information coming out about this. I've been, like I said before, where I've been following these Twitter spaces that basically all the big wigs in crypto have been coming in and speaking. CZ came in and spoke up. We even had Elon drop in and give us a big Dogecoin to the moon. Um, so intro, and then but really what we wanted to get his take on was what the hosts and everything were trying to get his take on was SBF and that kind of thing, because he was trying to come in with FTX as an investor on Twitter. And Elon said when he first heard about him, never really heard about him before when they first met, but then he said as soon as he initially met him, like bullshit meters just started flying. And a couple other people came on, like one of the people that runs like some of the Saudi hedge funds and that kind of thing, met him, and it was like said that basically the exact same thing. It's just how you gonna trust a kid basically that won't even get a haircut or dress decent to go and meet with political figures and that kind of thing, with billions and billions of dollars. To me,
Well,
it's
we
always been
learned
it's
that
always
in the
been a yeah.
we learned that in the internet age. I don't think the Google boys even own a suit, and it's yeah, it's a different culture, but it is reminiscent of the internet boom. I mean,
Yeah.
most people today either weren't around, weren't paying attention, or simply forgot. There were a lot of train wrecks during the internet boom.
Oh yeah.
We look back and we can see the price line and the Googles and the Amazons and the shit that was successful, but you miss all of the stuff that millions upon millions and tens of millions of dollars was poured into. that
Pets.com.
ended up failing. And I mean, there were kids dropping out of Harvard and getting $30 million in VC funding because they said they were going to build an app, which they never built shit.
Yeah.
And that crap was happening left and right and center. So history may not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. And what this whole thing is just telling me the incestuous nature of cryptocurrency, how everything, contrary to the tenets of cryptocurrency, it is not decentralized. It is not a new financial system. It's really just replicating the old financial system with the same old con jobs and I won't say necessarily scams, but the same old crap, leveraging other people's money up as much as you can. And then you have, of course, all the VC money flowing in and them
Mm-hmm.
trying to call the shots. And, they just got whacked. So this just is really the difference between, are we setting out to create a new financial system, or are we just creating an asset that's an adjunct to the existing financial system that people can play the same bullshit games?
And
And
that,
that's what it really comes down to. And thus far, it's the latter. I mean, we're just playing bullshit games.
yeah, I mean, because and people that I've, kind of helped influence get into crypto, some of my old friends, things like that, they can't get past like the Coinbase account, or whatever exchange they end up choosing, and it's like, dude, that's nothing better than your Bank of America account.
It's
Like,
actually worse. At least Bank of
yeah, it is
America
worse, I mean,
is
yeah.
insured up to 250K. I mean, you go into Coinbase and it goes under, you're a fucking creditor in a bankruptcy
Yeah, you're
case now.
screwed. Now, I mean, I'm going to say that being that Coinbase is a publicly traded company, they're going to be under a lot higher scrutiny than some of these other exchanges and that kind of thing. So if you want to go that route, like I'm almost to the point of even just taking a lot of my trading back over to Robinhood. I hate to say it, but yeah, I can trade options and I can trade crypto and it's backed by the FDIC and that kind of thing. So, there is that. But I'm going to be focusing mainly on decentralized exchanges, and that kind of thing, trying to keep my money on wallet, in my wallet as much as possible because that's been the whole thing. The whole premise behind a lot of this is not your keys, not your coin. Period.
Simple.
It's
Simple.
just straight up.
I'm in the process of putting together a series, and I wrote the first article today about what makes Hive stand out.
Yeah.
And my first focus was true account ownership.
Hmm.
And this really stems from Elon's Everything app. And Elon approached Twitter and said, okay, it's going to be freedom of speech. But anybody who's followed Elon closely understands his career, understands his background with PayPal and what he designed back then, which his partners in PayPal did not implement. They
Hmm.
just went with a payment platform. Twitter is going to become a financial services platform. And so the problem is now you no longer have social media, you have financial services. And Elon then could have the capability of doing the same shit as PayPal. Now he may not, and this was the point of my article, even though he may not do it, he has the power to do it. And that's the problem. So really what you're getting is you're just getting a more benevolent dictator. And this is where Hive gives you true account ownership, not only of your social media shit, but of your money.
Yeah.
And, I was listening to a podcast with one of the investors in Twitter who went in, gave Elon, $1 billion or whatever it was, to go into Twitter with him. And he's seen the plan. And part of the plan is NFT integration. It's digital assets. It's going to become a digital platform. And NFT integration. And okay, he was talking about using NFTs tied to DoorDash and shit like that. But you start, I mean, the leap from something like that to kind of an open sea type trading
Yeah.
venue isn't that difficult. But the problem with that is your wallet is still controlled by Twitter Inc. or Twitter, whatever the company is. That's still in control. And that's the problem we're witnessing, not only with crypto, but with this Web 2.0, because we are seeing the combination of social media and Finance. I've talked about this. I've written about this.
Mm-hmm.
We went with cryptocurrency, the finance route first. Now we're building the the social media. Social media is already there. They're trying to implement and will end up implementing some of these platforms, the finance.
Yeah.
But it was like Facebook with this Oculus. And as much as I believe in the metaverse, yeah, it's 20 years down the road, but we're going to get to mixed reality and all this stuff. The one thing I said against Oculus is fuck that. Zuckerberg will zap your Facebook account. Now what happens if your Facebook account has gaming tokens and NFTs and all this stuff from these different gaming worlds that you're entering and playing in 3D and through VR, and now he zaps you and there goes 100,000 in digital assets just
Yeah.
wiped out because you violated some TOS that you don't even know what the hell you violated. This is the major problem. And this is why I started this series with account ownership. It's not freedom of speech. Yeah, that's important. Yes, that carries a lot of weight. It's freedom of money. It's
Yeah.
sovereign money. And
Yeah.
that's going to be a problem. Who owns that wallet? Who has control of that wallet?
Mm-hmm.
And on Hive, you do, unless you
Yep.
lose your keys, then you're shit out of luck. Nobody controls it because it's lost.
Yeah, yeah, and there's been a lot of people that I've known on Hive that's they'll have to start new accounts because they lost their keys or this and that. So yeah, it's really important though, and the problem is what I'm seeing from all of this, like I was going back to earlier, is people can't get past that exchange account. They don't want to take control of the for themselves. It's a responsibility thing that I'm seeing with a lot of people, and they don't want to take responsibility for themselves. They don't want to,
Well,
if they lose their own money, they don't want to be responsible for that. They want to have somebody to blame.
yeah.
And for me,
Well,
I'd rather
this
hold
let me
on to
jump in
everything.
here.
But yeah, yeah,
This goes back to our discussion last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, about trading.
yeah.
And why most people fail at trading is they don't take fucking responsibility. Oh, they blame the market. No, the market does what the market does. You made a bad trade. If you thought it was
Yep.
going up and it went down and you didn't cut your losses, that's your own damn fault.
Or you're
You know,
dumb and you try to play
well,
FTT in the middle of a liquidity crisis.
trading is complete freedom. Nobody tells you when
Hmm.
to enter a trade. Nobody tells you when to exit a trade. And
That's what I
most
love about
people
it.
fail completely at trading because they don't take the responsibility. Oh, the market didn't do what it was supposed to do based upon the indicators. The market's not supposed to do anything. You are supposed to make the right approach, the right bets, the right money management moves to ensure that over time you're a successful trader. And what's the number one rule of trading? Cut your losses early, cut them off often. Um,
Yep.
but people won't take responsibility. So you just apply this to crypto, and it's like, is this any great surprise? How many people look up their bank that they bank with to see the financial viability of the bank? Nobody. Why?
Nobody.
Because
Yeah.
your FDI shored up to $250,000. How many people look at their brokerage company and say, are they financially viable? Because I
You
think
ask
you're
most people
covered up
what
to
the
five.
FDIC is, and they're going to be like, huh? Or you ask
Yeah,
them what a 10K is. It's like if it's like oh, I like this company because I talk to people all the time, that'll buy stocks or whatever just because XYZ chat room told them to go and buy it or whatever, and it's like, well, what does their 10K say? How much debt do they have on the books? Is this something that you want to invest in? And they're just like, huh?
yeah.
What? The chart says I'm doing. It's like, dude, you gotta look at more at just the charts.
I
That's
mean,
one thing. It's also pull.
if you're trading, you can live with the charts because you're trading. If you're in and out, you're
You
looking
can,
for a 1 week, 2 week, 1 month move. You're just looking at momentum play. So
yeah,
that's totally different. But you're right. If you're looking at investing money and saying, okay, I think this is a company that's going to go, over 5 years or 10 years, I want to
yeah,
hold it. The Warren Buffett style of investing.
dividend
The best
paying and that
stocks
kind
are
of
the
thing.
ones you never sell.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you damn well you better read the annual reports. You better look at the financials. You better read the balance sheet. You better work out a debt to equity ratio. You better look at their income statement. You better look at the
Listen
business
to the
plan.
earnings reports. Listen to
Yeah,
all the financial calls and stuff. That was when I knew the hell to get out of AT&T when I was in that. When I was investing in AT&T for a long time. They were a decent dividend payer for a while, but then like they started going down bad, and like there was a lot of stuff that I was listening to in the earnings calls that were just like flashing red flags at me because they kept trying to go out and buy all these different streaming services. I think they did like HBO and all this other kind of stuff, and I'm just like, nah, nah, you got to focus on telecom, dude. Like,
Well, I knew General Motors was going broke,
oh man,
in
that's another one.
2005, 2006, when I saw they
They're
were
going broke now.
keeping, yeah, well, that's for a different reason, but they were
Yeah.
keeping their dividend. They were paying for their dividend by taking on debt. That's
Hmm.
essentially what they were doing. And, that's obviously not a good recipe. And you're right. I mean, I invest in one stock, Tesla. I'm a believer in Tesla. I'm a believer in Elon Musk with Tesla. And I feel I understand where the company's going, what they're doing. And I spend a lot of time researching it, not only watching YouTube videos, but I do look at the financials. I do look at the financials of Ford and General Motors. I do look at what they're trying to do in terms of their investment to convert to EV. And I contrast that with the debt loads they're already fucking carrying.
Yeah.
And I sit here and say, okay, you got these legacy automakers that a handful of them aren't going to be in business in 5 or 7 years without a national bailout from, whether you're from Germany or Japan or wherever. But I invest the time. I research this stuff. I look at what they're doing. I'm constantly scouring the headlines. If you and this is one thing I agreed with Jim Cramer about, the only thing I've agreed with Jim Cramer on. He said if you're going to be a stock picker, you got to do your homework. And if you're not going to do your homework, just buy an index fund, buy the whole market, and just go away.
Right. Yeah.
And what is your homework? He says for every stock you own, you need to do at least 1 hour a week of research pertaining to that stock. So if you own 6 stocks, you better do 6 hours per week. And
That's
that's
not
staying
bad.
up, like you said, listen to the earnings call, watching for
Hmm.
things that change, watching for things that don't make sense, watching for them drift away from their core business, watching to see if the core business is creating increasing revenues and profits, or are those coming from other things like financial maneuvers or whatever. If your core financial business, like AT&T, their core financial business or core business for a lot of years was long distance phone service.
Hmm.
Well, that obviously died.
Yep.
Now that doesn't mean AT&T was going to die, but you had to watch and say, okay, how are they going to transition? And we know Blockbuster did not transition. We know Kodak didn't transition. We know Radio Shack didn't transition.
I'm actually
There's a
2
lot.
hours away from the last Blockbuster
Yeah, I mean it's
over here in Bend, Oregon.
yeah. So when you start to look at this stuff, that's what it entails. And you know, not that I agree with the regulators and the political establishment and this accredited investor bullshit and all this other crap. But you know what? The honest truth is most people are too lazy and too
Yeah,
stupid
it's not that
to
there's.
really invest because they have no financial acumen. And you know what? To be honest with you, at this point in time, I spit at those people and say, you got no excuse
Yeah.
because you can go and just simply go to Wikipedia, go to Investopedia, just do a Google search of any type of term, and you'll get to one of those sites. And you can bounce around for weeks learning some of the basics of stocks, of bonds, of derivatives, of interest, APR, APY, all this other stuff. And it's like people don't do it. It's like, well, I mean, I had somebody ask me on Twitter, "What's a block?" Well, you're in cryptocurrency. You don't know a block now. If you're new, fine,
Yeah. Well,
but it's called
it's the people that I'm listening to
blockchain
that have been
block.
here
What
for a
is it?
year or two. It's like,
Yeah.
come on
Well,
now.
even
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
Google search what is a blockchain block, and you
Yeah.
will get probably 100 search results that tell you exactly what a block is. Um,
People
you
want to
know,
be spoon fed. It's this whole like, give me the info. I don't. I'm too damn lazy to get out and find it for myself. I mean,
Mhm.
that's like, I mean, the way I raise my kids, they come in at, yeah, I worked for Apple for a long time. They'd come at me with an iPhone question. I'm like, you know where the K base is? Go find it. I was like, I have shown you well enough where that K base is. And at this point, I mean, they quit asking me. They just go and find it. It's like you can search for anything you want to search for.
Well,
But
there's
you
one thing about going to experts, but there's another thing about if you can't get the basics of investing, then what the hell are you doing? And
yeah,
you have no excuse. 40 years ago, yes, information was very tough to get a hold of. But it's like with trading. I know for a fact you could come up with 100 different trading strategies and indicators and what to use in a matter of under 4 seconds because that's what Google will spit out. Because you put in trading strategies or something to that effect, you will get hundreds of different trading strategies, and many of them are
and
valid.
hours of videos and all
Yeah,
this kind. Yeah,
and many of them are valid if you apply the strategy.
yeah,
But it's not like the information isn't out there. Like you said, if you're too dumb to read, they'll give you videos. There are people who take screenshots and go through live with, okay, here's the indicator and here's the MACD crossover, and we use this and blah 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 blah. And it's like, watch the damn things. And
yeah. That's what I'm
people
about to
don't
start
want
with.
to
Is
do
a
that. Instead, they'll sit on Twitter all day just typing bullshit. And it's like, I'm sorry, I got no sympathy for these people. And cryptocurrency is the same way. Not
yeah.
your keys, not your coins, not your keys, not your crypto, however you want to say it.
People
That
gotta.
goes back to day one of this industry. If
Yep,
you've been in it more than 3 minutes, you probably heard that. Yet we've seen people lose billions of dollars because not their keys, not their crypto, and now they're wondering why they're locked out of the account.
yeah,
And they shut down withdrawals. Well, guess what? Hive can't shut down withdrawals. You have your key. You can do whatever you want with what's in your Hive wallet. You can send the money out. You can swap it on the internal exchange. You can send it to a centralized exchange. You can send it to somebody else. Do what you want. Nobody
yep,
can stop you.
yep.
But that's true account ownership.
Yeah, I mean, and it's it's the same way with a lot of cryptos. But I mean, where I am just because I've gone all over the place, learning different things. I hit this industry running. I've mined, I've done all kind of different proof of work, but it's like I keep this is where I keep finding myself is coming back to Hive because Hive is that everything app. It is basically that everything app that we keep that everybody keeps trying to want and talk about. It's already here. We're already building it. We've got all kind of different things that we're building on top of it, but the problem is that it can be a little complicated to understand what your different keys are for and that kind of stuff. Really, if you have Hive Keychain installed on your browser or even on your mobile phone, all you need is that master password. You plug it in, you're done. I've never even had to look at a key, other than that since you install that. But it's just the taking responsibility for yourself is what scares people because especially like the younger generations, like we talked about, millennials and even like the Gen Z, like my kids are Gen Z and below. It's like we have been raised in this society and in like financial institutions of being spoon fed and everything else. It's like, here's this information we want you to know instead of going out and finding things for yourself. And that's where we've come up with this just gray down dull society of everybody wanting all of their information in 280 characters, which gives you no information whatsoever really, and they don't want to go beyond that. It's like, hey, here's a link that if you want to read the full post, here you go, read the full post. No, that's just too much. You can't read
Mm-hmm.
more than 250 words, 500 words. Oh my gosh, it takes all of 2 minutes to read. Oh, why can't you just put it into a video? It's like, why can't you just read? You know?
Well, I'll give you an example. There was a guy on Leo Threads, girl, I don't even know, guy or girl, but somebody posted, and they said, a lot of us are in Eastern time, and when there's an announcement of a video or whatever of something taking place, stop using UTC or just tell us what it is in Eastern time. And so I just replied, I said, what about all the people who aren't in Eastern time? And it's like, well, what a lazy dumbass. Just go Google UTC to Eastern time. You'll come up with like 8 different conversion or probably 100 different conversion
Yeah.
calculators. You put in the time 1 o'clock UTC, it'll tell you what it is in Eastern time. But see, that's the epitome of tell us what it is, just so we have that information. No, go find it yourself. I mean, we call Google the evil empire, although I think they've been usurped by Facebook. But anyway, leaving that aside. But one thing you can say about Google, they have a good fucking search engine. Go fucking enter anything in there and you'll
Yeah.
get, I mean, okay, they may be manipulated results as we know, but at least for the basic
Yeah.
stuff, they'll tell you what UTC, they'll tell you what time UTC is
Use
to
Brave
your time.
Search, man. I like Brave Search. That's me.
So what's that?
Brave, the Brave browser, their search engine's been great. I can find
Well, I
just about
mean,
I can find
you
anything I
can
need to
go
find.
DuckDuckGo, you can go
Yep.
pre-search. I mean, there's a lot of them out there that
There's yeah. 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 If you don't want to use Google, there's other ones out there, but just go research it yourself.
just
Go
go.
go learn something. You never know how expanded your mind can be. Like that's my thing. So the
Well,
way I look at it is if I can do it, if I can get into this space and if I can learn all the things that I've learned, anybody can kind of thing. So
and it's also the idea of the responsibility, and it's like that's why most people end up poor, and are going to end up poor, and will remain poor, because they refuse to learn even the basics of what APR versus APY is.
hmm
And if you can't understand the difference between the two, if you don't know the difference between a stock and a bond, if you don't know why the price of bonds goes up when and how that ties to yield, if you don't understand these basics, what the hell are you going to do? And so now you put crypto in there, and it's like, well, I want to be rich in crypto. You don't know how to be rich in crypto. Okay, yeah, you could be one of the ones get lucky. You buy some bullshit token and it 1000x on hype, and you sell out at the right time. But that's not most people.
yeah,
And it's like, well, do you understand how the banking system works? Do you understand how money is created? Do you understand what decentralization truly means? And do you understand why you should not stray too far from Hive and FTX? I mean, grant there's no correlation between the two because they weren't carrying the
no, they don't
tokens,
have
the
Hive.
coins. But you know, as you can see, when you stray from Hive, bad things can fucking happen because Hive is one of the few games in town that reflects the tenets of crypto.
Of true
Period.
decentralization. Yeah, it really does. I mean, when I came into, Steam, and before it forked into Hive, it was more or less, looking for an alternative, to earn, crypto because I was having to shut down my mines and all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, that was when I really started to understand what it was all about and what the account ownership was all about. Because yeah, I had like, I knew my keys and all that kind of stuff. But when I had my, I can put my own name on my wallet. That's like, okay, I feel like I own this more than you own a 30 character, alphanumeric wallet. That's just still way too confusing for people. And then you got the hardcore crypto folks that can't understand like the whole human readable thing. It's like, we've got it. You guys have been bitching about this for years. We have all these like ENS, accounts that that you can get, Ethereum name service. We have the unstoppable domains, which is still an incredibly centralized service. Just come over to Hive, get a user account name, boom, you're done. And we have wrap versions of most of the tokens that you want anyway. So here
Or
you go.
soon will. I
Or
mean,
so, well, depends on, it
we
depends on
have,
if you do Hive Engine or,
well, Hive Engine's
I'm
also
still waiting.
highly.
I'm still waiting to see somebody compete with it. I mean, that's my thing. So, with Hive
Well,
Engine.
Honeycomb is being built in a truly decentralized fashion, so it's going to take a while. See, here's the problem with centralization versus decentralization. Hive Engine's extremely centralized, and people won't admit it, but it is, and actually, it has a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
honeypot.
No, it's very,
Everything's in a
yeah.
honeypot, so they could spin that up quickly. See, what you have with Honeycomb is disregard building out the infrastructure for Honeycomb, and then other people have to take that infrastructure like Speak Network and build upon it. So, that's really why decentralization takes so much longer. But once you get that infrastructure in place, once other entities start building upon it, next thing you know, you have 20 entities building different things on it, and you have different apps built. It's just like with Hive, it takes a long time to get Twitter on the blockchain, and to get Likatu, that is an Instagram competitor, and Listeners, which is a new email type situation, marketing situation. And to get these different apps built takes time because there's no centralized organization or a bunch of people. But over the last 2 years, we've really added to the social media offering. And now it's a matter of adding to the financial offering while the social media is still we know Project Blank is being worked on, and supposedly an alpha's two months away. Games, we have Splinterland's always expanded. Now they got their Genesis. We know CyberX, and we know Ragnarok. But these things take time. Yeah, it'd be easier if like a Activision came to Hive and just said, okay, we're going to take all our resources and we're going to spin up 20 games in the next 6 months. Well, they have the resources to do that. Obviously, these different projects don't, but over time, that's the decentralization, because Ragnarok has nothing to do with CyberX. CyberX has nothing to do with Splinterlands. Splinterlands has nothing to do with this. And so all of a sudden, you get this organic, complex ecosystem growing that just attracts more and more and more and can keep expanding. And that's the difference. But it takes time, and we need infrastructure. We need smart contracts. We need robust and easy to spin up smart contract platforms. And we don't have that at this time. Hopefully, as I've said before, in 2023, we will see it. But, well, time will tell.
Yeah,
But,
well, I
you
know, I
stray away
know.
from Hive. You're taking a big risk.
Yeah, I know one big issue that a lot of people are facing right now, talking about infrastructure, is the infrastructure itself. The cost of running the infrastructure is absolutely getting ridiculous. Um, just trying to, I've been dealing all week with my Hive engine node, my witness node for that, and is finding a new host that's going to be good enough to be able to keep up with the blockchain and that kind of thing, that actually allows you to, do crypto, related stuff, is a nightmare. If you're trying, especially because, we're earning B as Hive engine witnesses, we're earning B tokens. Well, that crap fluctuates, and, it's sometimes we got, we're having a hard time just paying the server bills, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, that's where a huge problem with infrastructure is coming up. And what a lot of people don't see is that a lot of this stuff is really building up storage space in the background, especially if you're wanting to keep the full history of the blockchain and that kind of stuff going. So the storage space gets immensely expensive and things like that. So the
Well,
rewarding of
that's
the
why
infrastructure needs, is going to be something that's just got to be looked at in the future. So hopefully we can.
Well, that's why Hard Fork 26 are a 50% reduction in Hive, the size of the database. They use compression, and part
Yeah.
of the upgrade was to go. I think Howu said from 700 gigabytes to 350 gigabytes. That's a hell of
Okay.
a
Yeah.
compression. And people said, well, why is it only 2 to 1? Well, okay, maybe they could do better, but fuck, that's still a big move. And
My
you
question to
know,
people who ask those kind of questions is, figure it out yourself and then come and ask me that, because I'm sure that they probably put a lot of thought into, can we get this lower. It's like, oh,
yeah,
but
I'm sure.
nobody, nobody's happy with what people are putting out right now. And that's kind of annoying, is that people are like, oh, well, it's not this and it's not that. And it's like, well, are you coming up with solutions? And it's like, are you
Yeah,
building this? Like,
no,
this is an open source kind of thing, guys. Like, come on, like, give us. And I'm speaking
I
as somebody that's built, 3 different projects on Hive at this point, and it's like, you get people throwing all this stuff. Well, why can't we have this, or why can't we have that? And it's like, well, for one, a lot of times it's like a stupid question that's just like, why can't we have, DeFi smart contracts built on Hive layer 1? It's like, well, go look at the code and go figure out why we can't, kind of thing. It's like, there's reasons why this stuff is not built
Well,
on
and go
layer 1.
read Block Trade's posts about why he thinks it's a bad idea and
Yeah.
why some others agreed with him. There's a few who think we should still be a base layer, but most people in the developer realm, especially Block Trade's Howu and Gandalf, who are three of the big key core devs, don't agree with that. They think it's a
Yeah.
bad idea for obvious reasons. It's a security threat. It's a bloat threat. It's then every node has to run it, and that's what the idea of built in half was. That a smart contract platform could be built on half, or smart contract application could be built on half, and that way every Hive witness doesn't have to run every smart contract, because the smart contract's at the second layer. It's not on the base layer.
Yeah.
And these are things that if you stick around, you start studying, you realize, yes. And I agree with you. I see people who say, well, Speak Network's taking too damn long. Why don't they advertise? It's like, well, that's not Speak Network. That's Three Speak. And why they don't do it is they had it and didn't work very effectively, and they're revamping the way they're doing shit. And well, we keep paying them. Well, you're paying them for infrastructure.
Yeah,
You're paying Hou to develop core infrastructure. This is stuff that anybody can tap into. It's open source, so it's not like what Disregard is building is proprietary. It's open source.
yeah,
Now what Leo Finance is doing, they don't open anything up. Okay,
no,
well,
they don't.
they're also not supported by the community or by the DHF or with community funds. So they fund it themselves and they built it themselves. Okay, fine. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think Peak D is open source either. Um, the application. Now they do have something they're involved with open source software that they've been, I think, funded for, and that's cool too. I mean, they're building a new. I think one of the things is the internal exchange. They're building a new front end for the internal exchange, or maybe a widget is a better term. A way for other applications to incorporate the internal exchange into
Yeah,
their application. Great. Okay, that's the ideal thing to fund without a DHF. Open source it. Leo Finance can use it. CTP can use it. Ecency can use it. Although Ecency, I think, built their own. PT can use it. Okay, great. Any of these apps can use it. Wonderful. Hell, if they want to incorporate it in Splinterlands or Ragnarok, they can do that. Which I would suggest Ragnarok do that. But these are the things we have to take a look at, and this is going back to what we started with. This is why decentralization, it takes longer, but in the long run, the innovation can be greater because you start attracting more and more and more people, more entrepreneurs, more developers, and ideas get flowing. Whereas Elon Musk is going to be constrained by the amount of ideas his team can come up with and
yeah,
incorporate. And there's a process to go through. On Hive, you nailed it best. Take a look at the code and build something else yourself if you don't like it.
yeah,
If you don't like it, just build something else. Build whatever the hell you want. Nobody can stop you. Nobody gave me permission to do Leo glossary. I didn't ask permission. Nobody could give me permission. I just did it.
yep,
That's what open source. That's what permissionless. That's what blockchain means. And I guess people just don't get it. Maybe it's all that conditioning where, yeah, you're at work, you ask to go to the bathroom. May I take a break now, master? I mean that's what we're conditioned for, and
yep.
you
From
know,
5 years old and up, and
yeah.
yeah, it's just, and I'm seeing that, with my own kids and the way that they're thinking. My son, he's been out of school for a while, so he's like, and a little different. My daughter, though, bless her heart, she's, and I keep trying to fight the indoctrination, but it's there and
But
it's
then they
strong.
get
It's
into the
hard.
work world, and you're told when to show up,
Yep.
when to leave,
And
when
that's one
to
reason I don't
what.
have I don't have that kind of job anymore. I can't deal with that anymore. I had, too many hours that I spent, under somebody else's thumb. And, hey,
Well, but
I don't
if
get paid as much on, through doing a lot of this, and I have to go outside and do my own stuff. That's why I like Grubhub and DoorDash, because I am my own boss. I don't, nobody tells me anything. I just take the offer, go deliver the food, I'm done. And then I can put all, the rest of my focus back here, kind of thing.
but you have there's a trade off, and you're taking responsibility and willing to accept
Hmm.
that trade off.
Yep.
And it's like, unfortunately, most of the nitwits out there, they don't want to put in the time, they don't want to put in the effort, and all they want to do is attack the people who are successful. And it's like, that's not how it works. Elon Musk, I don't give a shit if you like him, don't like him, if you think he's an asshole, don't think he's an asshole. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks about Elon Musk. The guy's willing to work 120 hours a week. The guy took a fortune. And I don't know how much money of his personal wealth he took, how much Tesla stock he sold, 5 billion, 7 billion, whatever. He dumped it into Twitter, which is a piece of shit company. Maybe the app's not a piece of shit, but the company's a piece of shit. If you look at the financials, like we were saying before, go to Yahoo Finance, look at Twitter financials, look at their stock. It's garbage. Obviously, there's problems with the company, which he's encountering now. But this isn't the first time he took a boatload of money and went into a risky proposition. Hell, he took 350 million for PayPal that he got paid for buying out, getting PayPal being bought out, and went and started a rocket company and electric vehicle company.
That's pretty
Or didn't
awesome.
start the electric vehicle company, got involved with the electric vehicle
Yep.
company. I mean, what
Well,
the hell kind of asshole does that? Well, the kind of asshole who's willing to make big bets with not only his career choices but his money,
yep.
and some of them are paying off. Now, SpaceX may, I don't know if it's profitable or
We're
not.
about
It's
to get cut off.
cut off.
Good.
As I was saying before we got cut off, is Elon Musk was willing to do that. And I'm a person who stayed in a job
Yeah.
for the paycheck. I stayed there because I was comfortable. And, you get these people attacking Elon Musk, especially the political establishment. We just had the election in the US, and we have, what the fuck's the senator's name? Not Cruz, the other dingbat. Rubio. Young
Yeah.
guy. This guy, if he can be, Joe Biden, he can just stay in the Senate for the next 1,000 years. He's a young guy. He got reelected by an overwhelming majority. He'll probably keep getting reelected, reelected, reelected. He could do 40, 50 years in the Senate. And this is a guy like Biden and Ted Kennedy and Byrd and in the past Jesse Helms and Mitch McConnell and all these other assholes who just suck off the tit of the taxpayer. And that's no different than just being in a company and sucking off the tit of the company in a comfy job. And I don't care if you're making, 50 grand a year or 500 grand a year. But then those people, you look at these journalists and these reporters, and then they turn around and blast Elon Musk. And it's like, what the fuck? Are you taking $5 billion to go out and buy Twitter? First off, do you have $5 billion? Of course not. Very few people have that. Well, how did he get it? Was he lucky? No, he went and risked everything. So, this idea of attacking, the people who are making it, the people who are getting early, you see this on Hive. It's like, oh, well, the whales don't care. Well, guess what? The whales were able to get in 2016. You showed up in 2019. You think you deserve as much as Block Trades does? Block Trades has done 100 times more for this blockchain than almost everybody out there. Hou, he's sitting there coding. Well, he gets paid. Of course, he gets paid. You think he's going to do it for free? But the guy has skills. You got resource delegation because of Hou, not because of me, not because of anybody else, because of Hou. So you start to look at this stuff, and people just it's that envy. It's like, well, they have more. They were lucky. I deserve some of it. It's
Well,
this
it's even
sense of
the second
entitlement.
layer stuff, man. Like even the tribes, like look at Hive List, even We Cash, things like that. We had to come out of our pockets and pay for that kind of stuff to get set up. Nobody else did that. We didn't have to
No,
do that. I didn't have to set up Hive List. I tried to set up like an e-commerce community and it's not even used properly, that kind of thing. And it's like, trying to bring use case and bring, different things so that we can build a standalone economy basically is what I was
mm-hmm.
thinking, is my thought process in this, because we had, and that was what drew me to Hive, is that we had so many like awesome, unique resources in this blockchain ecosystem versus a lot of the other spaces, and the ownership, the user readable names, that kind of thing, that was a huge bonus to me. That was why I came over here and started, my projects, and that kind of thing. Plus, there were the tools that would help somebody that's not as much of a dev like me, that somebody that's more of a media, big picture kind of guy, can build stuff using different pieces and parts and that kind of thing. So, with like WordPress and stuff, because we got the
Well,
EXXP, which
that's what I
Hau
said.
is a part
I
of too,
think Hive
So
needs 500 more entrepreneurs.
yeah, but the
You pull in
problem is the
500 entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs that are here now need support from the community, instead of them looking at the tribe owners to support them and their wallets. That's been a big issue with a lot of tribe owners that I've seen, is that, we put our money and we put our, hearts and we put our time and effort out there. And when we come and ask for support, it's just like, oh, we'll give you an upvote. And it's not even,
Well,
like a whale
that
upvote. It's like, it's little, which, it'll start to build, over time. But it's the fact that, we need more just, more support around a lot of these things. That's just my thing.
Well,
That's
yeah,
been my
and
complaint with
that's
the
what
community.
that, but that's what comes down to an entrepreneur and building something people want.
Yeah.
If you have to ask for support, you're doing something wrong. You need to build the kick-ass product that people will gravitate towards. And that's, I mean, you can say what you want
The
about
the the pro
Zuckerberg. He built something way back when that people wanted, and I don't get Facebook, but
well, he
many
stole
people
something
do.
that people wanted. That
Well,
was let's rephrase that. So he
well,
didn't he got hired to build something for somebody else and ended up stealing it basically. So
Well, don't believe everything you read either, and the Winklevoss aren't exactly the most honest, truthful cats in the lot either. So, I wouldn't say he necessarily stole it because, you know,
well, it also comes from his ex-partner too that he had to pay out an undisclosed amount of money as well. So
well, yeah, I mean, well, that may come from
the
better
one that
lawyering.
actually the one that actually wrote the algorithm.
Yeah, so I
Zuckerberg
mean,
didn't write
it's
the algorithm.
Bill Gates, basically bluffed his way into
Basically,
Microsoft. It was a
yeah,
bluff.
basically stole Steve Jobs' work.
So I mean, it's you know the difference is Zuckerberg built something people want. Zuckerberg built a 2 trillion or 1.5 trillion dollar company, which very few people have done. I'm not a fan of Zuckerberg, but Zuckerberg's done 100 times more than the Winklevoss twins could have. The difference is Zuckerberg's also in the process, it appears, of destroying it. But maybe
Yeah,
he's a smarter guy than everybody else. I don't know. I think he's way off base with this meta at this time, but what the hell do I know? I'm not a billionaire, so maybe he ends up being right on the mark and usurps everybody in the industry. Uh, but that's the point. Zuckerberg, he has 2 billion users on his platforms. Who does that?
yeah,
And he built stuff people want, and he realized people didn't want Facebook, so he went and bought Instagram. Laid $1 billion out for that. That who knows how much that deal is worth. Then he went and got whatever their messenger app is.
yeah.
Uh,
What's
you
up?
know,
Yeah.
who knows how much that's worth. So I mean, will he lose in the end? There's that possibility. I mean, nothing stays. Those people in Kodak and Blockbuster, as we mentioned, lost, and I think ultimately Netflix will end up losing at some point down the road. Technology is replaced. People's tastes change. The moats aren't that great unless you keep innovating, and it's very difficult for a large centralized company to innovate, and that's where I think Hive comes in. But as I said, we need 500 entrepreneurs. And out of 500 entrepreneurs, could somebody build that kick ass DApp that all of a sudden takes off? Yeah. Can you do it out of 20 entrepreneurs? No. And that's the problem. And so, it's just a matter of time. Get the infrastructure in place. Maybe then you'll attract the entrepreneurs, and somebody will come up with an idea that just takes off. And I don't know what the killer DApp is. I don't know
I
what
and
are
that that's been my thing too. Is like I don't know what people want anymore. It's like, and
well,
so
it's
I'm building my music platform, and I've because Hive List has kind of been one of those things that it's like okay, it kind of is what it is at this point. So I'm putting my focus back on the blockchains and the music platform because there's a lot of stuff
it
behind that. You hear Raul Paul talk about music and social-fi and stuff like that being part of the future of this industry and stuff. So I'm trying to, jump in on that one with both feet, but then really just focusing on my trading because I'm tired of trying to please people other than myself. And I'm a
well
people,
that
I'm a
that you
people
have to do.
pleaser. So that's,
You have to do that for your own personal wallet. But
yeah,
it's like Project Blank. I think that's a fantastic idea, but we can't sit here and say it's going to be a winning idea because, like you said, we don't know if people want Twitter on the blockchain.
yeah.
They may roll out this app and it may just be a dud because it's like, well, okay, nobody gives a shit. And
Well, I mean,
even
we
if
already
you
have
promote,
Dbuzz and we see how much usage that gets. That gets
well,
like no
dbuzz
use.
is a shitty design because
So
it's a base layer. It's a blog layer post, and you can only do it once every 5 minutes and stuff like that. I mean, you see how quickly people tweet out. Leo Finance actually, by going to the comment level, they actually make it resemble Twitter because they don't have the constraints of, okay, you can only post once every 5 minutes, and then of course you post out on dbuzz, it's a blog post, so auto voters go off and all this other shit gets people upset. And so all of a sudden, they had to limit the amount of hive that a post could get. I mean, it just opens up a total nightmare.
Yeah.
So Leo Finance actually did a good thing by figuring out how to go around that. They have the base layer posts, which I would hope they would put that as, even turning down rewards. And then everything that's quote, every thread is actually just a comment and operates like any other comment. But even if they get a standalone app, even if it's general purpose, even all this other stuff, it may be a dud. I mean, it could be a total dud because, like you said, we don't know what people want. We don't know what'll take off. Maybe it'll be Ragnarok. Maybe it'll be Spiderlands. Maybe it'll be CyberX. Maybe it'll be like it too. I don't know. We don't know. But the more stuff you keep, it's toilet paper. The more toilet paper you throw at the wall, maybe something will stick. And as I've maintained all along, we only need one app to pull in about 100,000 users. You
Yeah.
get that on Hive, suddenly we're in a totally different arena. What will that app be? I mean, you're doing shit with music. Sound approach. I mean, that to me, okay, I'm not a music expert here, but from what little I do know about the industry, it's totally corrupt, it's totally centralized, it's totally controlled, it's totally unfair, it screws people. So this makes sense. Now, will this ever take off? I don't know.
And,
I have no
and that's my
idea.
thing. I don't know if it's going to take off either. I mean, even like the feedback that I'm getting, it's like, well, people just want something that's simple. And it's like, okay, first off, there is nothing about crypto that is simple. All
Yeah,
right. We're trying to make it that way, but there's nothing about crypto that is simple, period. So if people are wanting to come into the Web3 space for music, with NFTs, they have to learn a little bit.
yes,
They
I
have
agree.
to educate themselves a little bit. Yeah, I mean, and I get this from people here on Hive too. And it's like, guys, you have to look beyond. It's like, and I tell John all the time, you have to sometimes look beyond just Hive to get a grasp on what is going on and actually appreciate Hive more and more. But you have to
Yeah,
know. I mean, it's a great. You really need to know what's going on out there in these other ecosystems because not everything yet can be done on Hive. I say yet.
a lot can. I
A
mean,
lot can.
we don't have smart, open, robust smart contracts, so we
Yeah.
are limited
Yeah,
at
we
this
are
point.
limited. So that's where I'm using things like Polygon, as like a second layer to Hive kind of thing. Especially we got the
And the
PHBD.
NFTs seem to be gravitating towards Wax. I don't know much about that blockchain, but that seems to do very well
I'm
with
not a
NFTs.
fan. I mean, yeah, Wax is cool. I'm just personally not a fan because it's basically a fork off the EOS structure. And to me, that's more complicated than, running Ethereum or Polygon, because that's
Mhm.
simple. You just need gas in the tank. That's it.
Yeah,
With Wax, it's like you got to have CPU resources, network resources, RAM resources. So you got to have all this like Wax staked and then it costs this and that. I'm not a fan of Wax. I like, Atomic Hub's platform and how they do it, but they are extremely centralized as well. And because I've tried to deal with them on getting a couple of collections started and that kind of thing with music stuff, but I'm just like I'm staying away from them at this point.
well,
Um,
most of the industry, OpenSea is centralized. I mean,
Oh,
it's
well, OpenSea, yeah, OpenSea's platform. I mean, they're just a platform that they, can get all these NFT contracts and, bring in kind of thing. I've been trying to figure that out, but and that's all OpenSea has, the edge on. But we're seeing there now they're trying to cut royalties for
mm,
creators and that kind of thing. Like they're trying to destroy the NFT industry that
mm,
they helped build. They're trying to destroy it because a few people don't think that, that royalties should be paid to the original artist. That's the whole basis of it. So that's why, with our marketplace, with Blocktunes, we're building a Polygon based blockchain, Polygon based infrastructure there to where it's, you come on, the marketplace gets a royalty as well as the original artist for every resale that happens on that. Plus, the cool thing is with smart contracts like on these other blockchains, I can do so much more. Like I can have
mm.
gated content. I can have, use them for
Yeah.
tickets, event tickets and things like. There's all kind of options because I'm working with some devs with a project called the Unlock Protocol. I've been working with some stuff, and that's great because you can, set it up to where you have a special contract that is an NFT basically. Have it set with you can either set it up with your own contracts, or you can use the contract that is minted for you and actually mint the NFTs each time for like a membership or something like that. So that's what we're trying to use, that kind of stuff. Like with the NFTs that we have on Hive, they're all just JSON based,
Mhm.
code that's on the second layer kind of thing. So
Yeah, you
you have
can't.
to go in and you have to basically make a copy and paste spreadsheet to do anything with, those NFTs to give people, any kind of benefits
Yeah,
other
and
than
that's
just the.
that's one thing Speak Network is looking to change is they are looking at using the honeycomb and smart contracts in honeycomb, where they you can actually build an NFT platform on decentralized infrastructure, which honeycomb is, and then you could tie that into
Yeah.
Hive if you want via the custom JSONs for base layer transactions of account ownership, but you do the actual store, if I can use that term or whatever, at
Mhm.
the layer two. And see, that's the thing. You're over on Polygon doing this. If the infrastructure shows up tied to Hive, you'll be able to duplicate. You won't need to destroy it. You can duplicate what you did on Polygon over on whatever layer two, and all of a sudden now it's decentralized if you have a layer two decentralized node system, which Polygon really isn't, and
Well, none
you're
of them
good to
really
go.
is. None of them really
No,
are
none
at
of them
this
are.
point.
The
There's not a
EVMs, none of
single
them.
one of them out there that are fully decentralized. And so I
That's what
mean, we're
people
having
don't.
to just
Yeah,
kind of work with what we got at this point.
yeah.
I was working a lot with Binance Smart Chain. Totally pulled out of that after their bridge hack, and it wasn't necessarily the bridge hack. And I think we talked about this before. It was the halting of the chain through the few validators that said halt this chain and
Well,
basically
CZ said
reverse it.
halt the chain and it stopped.
And
So,
yeah, well, he said he didn't have any say so in that. It was the validators. And
and,
so
and
we'll
and
see
what's
what.
next? Elon Musk says I don't have any say so in
Yeah,
Twitter.
I know.
Give me a break.
Yeah, I'm just going on what I was following in that whole thing. But
I
that
mean,
was one thing that made me cut bait and run. So I have totally changed up everything on Blocktunes and pulled everything off of Binance Smart Chain and am basically going all into Hive for full musician payments and all that. I'm basically going to be requiring musicians to get a Hive account so that we can get paid and that kind of stuff. And it's better for them. They can build a reputation versus and with like their artist name versus an Ethereum wallet address that nobody's going to
Mhm.
know, or they have
Yeah,
to go and purchase an ENS to put in, and that's just ridiculous. So that's why I'm bringing more focus into Hive. And yes, I went ahead. We had the breakaway community, but it's just extremely limited, honestly, for now. And I need this thing, to get going. So I went ahead and we went with the outpost for the tribal outpost kind of thing. But it gives everything that I need for right now. So like I said, none of it is truly decentralized at the moment, and I don't think we're
no,
ever going to really see any truly decentralized infrastructure for a long time. The closest things that we're going to be seeing in the industry is fully decentralized. We still got Bitcoin, but that's still even questionable. But Hive, we've got our centralization issues too, still, in my personal opinion. But yeah, we're better off than a lot of them. We got Bitcoin, Litecoin, maybe Monero, Digibyte, and it's mainly all the proof of work ones that are still somewhat decentralized.
yeah,
Everything proof
and
of stake that I've seen is incredibly centralized. And if you look into like the Nakamoto consensus and stuff like that, and it's ridiculous that like Ethereum can be taken down by like 3 nodes.
yeah. Well,
And you look at all these Cosmos chains, that I've worked with, and it's like, dude, yeah, there's most of these can be taken down by like 2 or 3 nodes, doing something malicious, and it's there. There is no decentralization in that, So to me,
no.
it's a buzzword these days. The key is
I
ownership.
think I listen to Dan and Starkers so much. I've been converted. DPoS stands a much better chance of decentralization simply because of how the rotation of the block production goes. And the
Well,
fact
that's
that you,
just really with this one ecosystem. I mean, DPoS can be considered like the Cosmos ecosystem can be considered DPoS because it's delegated proof of stake. So it's just
well,
the way
that's
that
true.
it's the way that this
But
graphene infrastructure runs. So that's completely different. They like to kind of kind of put everything into a little box. Um, but that's
okay, our DPoS
yeah, our
is,
DPoS is a little different because of the rotational block. But
and I
my
think
thing is, I think
ultimately,
that 20 needs to expand. That's just my personal opinion on it. I think it needs to expand to open up more decentralization in that fact. Um, but
well, the problem is you get too many
because you can get
nodes in.
17 of those witnesses to do something like they did with Justin Sun. That's just my thing. That's my outlook on that. Because that's 17 people that can say,
Well, the problem
something.
is you also could get, if you get too many, then you end up never getting anything done because you never get a super majority. So you end up you end up basically with Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's had two upgrades in 12 years.
Yeah.
They can't get consensus on shit. Now obviously it really doesn't matter because Bitcoin doesn't do anything other than move value from one wallet to the other. It's like a banking chain. I mean, that it's a ledger. They don't have anything else. But you're right. I mean, when you start looking at these mining pools, I mean, I haven't looked at Litecoin. You threw it out there. I don't know if Litecoin's centralized or not. I don't know what the mining pool looks like in Litecoin.
Better than
I,
most.
I have no
Yeah.
idea. They've been around.
I used to mine Litecoin, so like I still follow it. So
Yeah, I have some Litecoin and it's held up pretty well, but I don't know
I
why I
use it
should.
for transactions mostly. Like I haven't been
I
holding anything other than just my stake dive lately in my HPD and
I
saving.
have some I use it for transactions too. If I'm going
Yeah.
to go to Coinbase, I use Litecoin because it's quickest and
Well, I've
cheapest.
been using BitPay. I've been using BitPay for years because I got the little BitPay Mastercard. And what's cool about that is you can use your own keys with their app and that kind of thing. They just actually opened up Polygon functionality. So now, because I've been going from Hive via Litecoin over to my BitPay card, pay server bills,
Mm-hmm.
eat gas, whatever I need, you know. Um, but and I know that BitPay doesn't report to the IRS, but I'm just like waiting for that day. To all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, we see all those transactions. And but now I'm just basically going to be sending USDC through Polygon straight over to there. No capital gains, just using stable coins at this point. So they've had that. So I mean, there are options. But yeah, that way I'm using stable coins. So anyway, that was a whole
Well, and,
side
and you
note.
bring
But
up
you
one of
know,
the big issues with the entire crypto thing is
mhm.
there still is this, and the centralized exchanges. I think I tweeted about this. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just thought about it. But you know, anybody who uses a centralized exchange for anything other than an on ramp or off ramp to
Yeah.
fiat has a screw loose. I mean, okay, if you want to put a few dollars on there because you're doing some trading, okay, fine. Um,
If
that's
you're
not.
doing spot trading, you can do that through a decentralized exchange,
Yeah, that's true too. You can do a lot.
I mean, keeping your own, and you're not ever
Yeah,
losing
so
control
you
over
can do
those
a lot of
coins.
that depending on what you're trading and what you're
Hmm.
doing. Um, but these people, and this goes right back to what we started with FTX. Why the fuck was there all that money on the exchange? These people were, and these institutions were freaking idiots.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and
And that's kind
I'll
of
be
where
honest
we're,
with
yeah, go ahead.
I used to keep a little bit of Ethereum. Wasn't much, maybe a couple of Ethereum. I just had that on Coinbase, and I just left it there because I was lazy. I'm like, I don't want. I have a ledger. I didn't want to move it to my Nano ledger. And when was it? 6 months ago, and it was actually Neil McSpadden who sent out a tweet. And it was when everybody was getting questionable about Coinbase's solvency, and he tweeted out a link that basically somebody put out that highlighted the TOS, I guess you could say, but a decision that basically you were going to be accredited, so your funds weren't protected, and so at that point. I had a little cash, and I had, fiat, and I had this Ethereum. So I immediately moved my Ethereum to my ledger, and I took my cash and sent it to my bank account. Um, simply because, you know what, you are not protected. So, and again, I didn't have, as I said, it was two Ethereum, I think. So it was what, like maybe at that time, 5 grand. So it wasn't, the end of the world, but still a significant amount of money to me.
Yeah, well, it sucked to
And
lose.
yeah, and I wouldn't want to be a Mount Gox situation where 8 years later I'm still trying to fight with Coinbase and hoping that I get, maybe half an Ethereum back.
Yeah.
So that's where, crypto, you hit the nail on the head. There's nothing easy about crypto because it's changing how the fuck things are done. You're eliminating the gatekeepers, the brokerage houses, the banks. They make it very easy for you to interact, but they have the control.
The only people
And
screaming for for these centralized exchanges and for regulation are these institutions.
of
People,
course,
and it's because that's what they know. I mean, look at what Michael Saylor's saying. He's like, "Oh, Bitcoin holders, we want out." It's like it's Bitcoin or it's Bitcoin or shitcoins, and we don't want anything to do with this. It's like, dude, you are one person that's trying to speak for an entire group of people that hold Bitcoin. It's like, I'm not a maxi,
and
but still it's like, you're kind of an idiot.
he's a Bitcoin maxi, and he's a Wall Street 30-year,
Yeah,
35-year Wall Street
Wall Street guy, and
guy. So
that just
this
got caught
guy's
with his own
as
tax issues.
establishment as they come.
So hey, he needs to look at himself before he starts trying to criticize other people in other industries, honestly, because didn't he just get caught for like tax evasion or whatever, basically living in DC,
Well,
claiming living in Florida?
I don't know if he
Oh
did
man, yeah,
that.
that's a whole thing. No, he's a joke, but it's like it's people like that though that are screaming for these centralized, because they're too lazy to figure out the technology for themselves and actually invest in the base layer. And that's why, and those are the people that are also screaming for ETFs and all these different derivatives and all this kind of stuff. It's like you're too lazy to break away from this traditional system. You're
Well,
trying to bring the traditional system over to crypto. And then when something like this happens, it's going to rock not only the crypto industry, but also the traditional markets as well. Because you've got these hedge funds that are invested in something like FTX and their money's freaking screwed. So I'm looking to see like how big of a ripple effect is this going to make in the greater markets?
well,
Because honestly,
but
that's all they've been talking about.
the
So
difference is with the ETFs. First off, the ones screaming for it are the ones who actually want to sell it. So it'll be
yeah,
a major moneymaker to Grayscale and
yeah.
to ARK and to some of these others. And JP Morgan and Goldman probably will get the first ones. And, as much as we bitch about regulation, those will be protected, and okay, you can make the question of, because those institutions will have to be custodians of, let's say, the Bitcoin, which that's what the Wall Street banks are setting up. So
Mhm.
that won't be a necessarily a FTX situation, although the banks will probably take it and trade upon it. But the difference is they'll do that with paper. They do that. They'll get in the futures market with BlackRock and all the others, and just they'll just paper trade it. So, are the funds really at risk? I don't know. Um, but see, you're right. Regulation only affects the startups. It protects the institution. So
Mhm.
obviously, Michael Saylor, obviously J.P. Morgan, obviously all these entities. What's the clown's name from Shark Tank? Not Kubin, the
Oh,
other one,
yeah,
Kevin Leary.
Yeah,
O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary. Yeah,
He said,
Mr. Wonderful.
I'm not investing in cryptocurrency till the whatever the Stablecoin Act is being called, until that passes, because we need regulation. He ended up my FTX stake, which I invested in, is zero. Well, it's your own damn fault. Elon Musk. Let's go back to him. Elon Musk. His bullshit meter went off the second he met uh, Bankman Fried.
Yep.
The Saudi dude said this guy was full of shit the second he met
Yep.
him. Why didn't Kevin O'Leary pick up on it? Now, I haven't followed FTX or Bankman Fried close enough to know were the warning signs screaming. From some of what I picked up from people,
Well,
there's
it's
a
the
lot of
same kind
people
of
who are not
warning
shocked by
signs.
any of this.
It's the same kind of warning signs that I started seeing with crypto.com. And now you see that they're they're halting withdrawals and stuff today too. It's the players that are coming out and spending all this money on marketing and trying to get all this hype going. I mean, they bought the Miami Arena. They put FTX logos on all the umpires. Crypto.com had billboards everywhere. They've even, I think they bought the rights to the Staples Centers or to the Staples Center or something like that, I think. So I mean, you see that all this money's going out, but they're the ones that are going insolvent. FTX was the one that was trying to bail everybody out. They were trying to bail out Celsius, Three Arrows Capitals, which
Mm-hmm.
actually it was coming out this weekend in a lot of these spaces that they were the one that Alameda was the ones that behind that whole short. That shorted UST. So it's like, is Stablecoin the one, or Do Kwon, is he the one that, is really the bad guy, or are we all looking over here at, FTX and his little girlfriend over at Alameda? So they've caused some havoc, and
Yeah,
more or less it's just put a big skid mark on the name of the industry. And because it's like we're
without a
right here at the
doubt.
holidays, man. It's like it's going to make it really hard to talk to friends and family about trying to sell them on crypto and all this stuff that's going on. That's just my thing. So that's my idea about it.
Well, I think we're to the point now. It's we don't sell people on crypto. It's
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
beyond that because you sell people on crypto. It's price go up, mooning Lambos. We need to sell people on. It's like we didn't sell the internet based upon the dot com bubble. People got based on the internet based upon information, based upon the ability to email. I mean, what was the first killer app of the internet? I'd probably say email. Probably was the first killer
email,
app.
yeah, for sure. Email and chat.
Everybody got involved with email, and then search engines brought information to people's fingertips, and then of course social media exploded, I guess you could say, in web 2.0. That's what crypto needs to do. That's what the industry needs to do. It
Yep,
has nothing to do with fucking crypto. It has to do with selling them on this idea of Web3, whatever the fuck Web3 looks like. And we really don't know what that looks like at this point. That goes back to what we were just saying. What's going to be the killer DApp? We don't know. But whatever the hell the killer DApp is, that's going to bring in hundreds of millions of people. Now, we'd love that to be on high, but we don't know if it'll be. But we don't know what that killer DApp is.
well,
5 years since I've been in this industry, we've talked about it, but nobody's figured it out yet. We
yeah.
don't know what it is. No idea.
We don't. And I mean, even like even with Hive, I'm trying to understand. It's like, dude, uh, the whole thought alone of doing the same thing that you do on Facebook or Twitter, but over here on Hive, and you actually get paid for it. Just that alone, I would think would try to, would bring people, but people are just like,
But we know that's not a selling point
it's
because then
not.
people
No.
come over. Well, I'll make 1,500 on my first post, and when they don't, it's like, oh, this place sucks. I'm out of here. The whales are
or
greedy.
they learn
Um,
about tag spamming and all that kind of stuff. Like that's my life with Hive List, is trying to moderate tag spam and all this kind I finally just gave
yeah,
up, and I was just like, fine, y'all just whatever, I don't care anymore. It's like I'm done
yeah.
moderating it.
So
It's a nightmare, but
yeah,
people are going to do what they're going to do, and right now we're still in this phase to where everybody, people got rich for a little while. Now they've lost a bunch, and so everybody's kind of getting hurt. Your original OGs are still here. We're still building. And one of the biggest things that I kept hearing, from Elon, that was like after he came in and said Dogecoin to the moon. It's like, well, what do you think? What do you have any advice during this whole situation? He's like, well, crypto's all about not your keys, not your wallet, right? It's like, stick to that. Get your money off exchanges, put them in cold storage. CZ also seconded that. When CZ, the owner of the largest exchange in the world, also comes out and says, not your keys, not your coins. It's like, it makes you think, and it's like, yeah, they're coming out with proof of reserves and stuff like that. But it's the whole thing about just taking responsibility for yourself, because you think that, your banks are going to keep your money for you. Well, you know what? They can take it they can take it just like that too. Banks can go insolvent as well. You know, it,
well, yeah. I mean, you see how the protection is, but as we know about Cyprus about 5 or 8 years ago,
They can
You know,
straight
they
take
did
it.
a bail-in, and
Yep.
so everybody got a 10% haircut. They took 10% out of everybody's account. So,
Hmm.
you're right. It's as bad as the banking system is in the developed world, it's pretty good. There are protections in place, but people presume those protections are in place. I shouldn't even say banking. I should say financial, because you have it with the brokerage houses. Those protections are not in place with these cryptos exchanges. Now, maybe they will, and we are going to see an onslaught of regulation in 2023. This gives these political hacks exactly what they need. And so maybe all these exchanges will have to become banks and register under the banking laws and all this other shit, which then, of course, just pushes up the cost of doing business. Um, but where does Hive stand? We don't give a shit, because we can't adhere to regulation anyway. How the
Yeah.
hell do we fill out the paperwork? We can't even fill out the paperwork. Name a company, don't have one.
Yeah.
Okay, screwed there. Address, don't have one. Point of contact, don't have one. Telephone number, don't have one. What the hell do you guys have? Nothing. Well, why are you trying to adhere? Well, we can't comply. So even if we wanted to, we couldn't. So
Yeah.
uh,
Even if we
you
went
know,
in and talked to Gary, like he says, come in and talk to us. Yeah, no, that's a trap.
Okay, who's
But
going to go and talk? Okay, me.
yeah,
What do I
who?
represent?
Yeah,
Nothing.
who?
You? I mean, who are we going to send in? I mean, Dan. He's in
Yeah,
Mexico. Starkers. We don't know where the hell Starkers is. Asidio. We don't even know who Asidio is. I mean, he's Asidio. We don't know who he is.
yeah,
That's the thing. It's like, okay, well, what? How, Gensler wants your company to comply. We don't have a company.
yeah.
There is no company. So
Well,
it's like, okay.
yeah, it's like playing whack-a-mole. They're gonna come in, try to whack something. We're gonna pop something up somewhere else. It's just the way this industry is, and
Well,
we're gonna.
if you're running a centralized system, if you have a founder stake, if you have a company or a lab behind you, if you're a Do Kwon, if you're an Ethereum Foundation, then yes, you got major
Hmm.
problems,
Yeah, you do.
because there's a door for them to knock on.
Hmm.
Try to knock on Hive's door. Who do you go see? Block Trades? Well, first off, Block Trades company is in the Caymans.
Yeah,
Yes, he has a U.S. license, but that's for his exchange. That has
yeah,
nothing to do with coding. That has nothing to do with the Hive blockchain. That's
mm-mm.
just a company, blocktrades.us, that does token swapping
Yeah,
and coin swapping. Okay. And I presume he's in full compliance. He's KYC, because he is under FinCEN. Um, okay. So, but what does that have to do with Hive? Nothing.
yeah.
So
Well,
who do you go after? Owu? We don't know who Owu is.
no, yep, and that's what's the beauty of it is, and even like in a lot of these other ecosystems, validators, stuff, teams, and stuff, they have companies behind them. It's like they can come and force you to do stuff with your nodes, and it's just like, yeah, no, it's too cool. But I don't know. We got a couple of minutes left, and I just got to reiterate, taking ownership, and I think that's the biggest thing that we're coming out with in this podcast, is it's the subject that keeps coming up. It's just, God, we gotta teach people to just take responsibility of themselves, and that's a huge problem in today's society. Nobody wants to be responsible for themselves. People want to stuff their faces and get fat and all this kind of stuff, and want to know why they're sick and why they're unhealthy, and then look at the pharmaceutical companies to come and save them, and then when they keep them sick, they want to know why the doctors aren't keeping them well. It's just a whole, it's the same thing
Yep.
in the financial industries. Where it's a sick industry. It's right along with the rest of it. Nobody wants responsibility for anything. Nobody wants to keep their own money safe and in their own control. They want to have somebody to blame, and that's just kind of where we've come up in this, in the society. And hopefully, this kind of stuff here is going to show people that the person that they want to blame is the one that's, is
Looking back at him in the
yeah, is
mirror.
looking back at you. So because you were the one that had the choice to put your money on those exchanges, you were the one that had, the choice to do whatever it is, that you want to do with your money. So are you gonna trust somebody else with it, or are you gonna trust yourself? So if you can't trust yourself, then you really need to take a big look in the mirror and wonder why not. So But that's my message for today. Tass, do you have anything to close it out with?
Always look at counterparty risk. Know
That's
what
it,
you're
man.
dealing with on the other side because they have the liability for your money.
That's it.
And if they bail on that liability, your asset's screwed, as all those FTX people found out.
Yep. Well, I'm keeping abreast on all this whole situation, keep following it. So yeah, we'll see what we'll have next week to talk about because it seems to just keep growing and keep growing. So until
Tentacles
next
keep
Monday,
expanding.
that's it. Well, Tass, we'll see you next Monday. Thanks to everybody for watching and give likes, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.
Ciao.